The following contest is scheduled for one fall and is for the Intercontinental Championship.
We push forward on with WrestleMania as we move into the Intercontinental Championship match, pitting the lunatic Dean Ambrose in his first taste of singles championship opportunity here in Universe Mode, making a name for himself this year as one half of the Shield, accompanied by Roman Reigns. They were able to defeat the team of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan way back at Clash of the Champions, a match that ensured that Daniel Bryan and CM Punk would no longer be seen on Friday Night SmackDown throughout the duration of this year. Following that victory, Roman Reigns continuing the momentum, looking to earn himself the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble. However, Dean Ambrose, to much lesser degrees of success on SmackDown, but now arriving at a championship opportunity at WrestleMania. Dean Ambrose, a former SmackDown Tag Team Champion with the Shield, the first team to hold those championships for 90 days back at the beginning of Universe Mode. Looks to face off against the current Intercontinental Champion. We introduce the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. On that same night that Dean Ambrose vanquished CM Punk and Daniel Bryan from Friday Night SmackDown, Will Ospreay was successful over Adam Cole to capture the Intercontinental Championship, and ever since then has gone on to great success in the singles division, participating at Survivor Series against Tommaso Ciampa and Drew Gulak, being the representative of SmackDown for the secondary singles championship among his brand. Many of Will Ospreay's defenses throughout this year against the likes of The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Jerry Lynn, to mention a few, Ricochet as well. Dean Ambrose, a different type of athlete than anybody that I just listed. Much more of a brawler style. However, Ospreay able to adapt to his competition no matter the circumstances, as he's proven so far in Universe Mode. And that is what has allowed him to reign as the Intercontinental Champion for so long. Now we see Ospreay relinquishing the championship over to the referee. The referee showing Ambrose what he's fighting for here tonight. The Intercontinental Championship, the secondary tier championship in the singles men's division on SmackDown. You got to think that Dean Ambrose starved for opportunity throughout the course of this year. Power slam to start off this matchup from Will Ospreay, as he was able to counter out of Dean Ambrose's running attempt to begin this matchup. Back and forth strikes here as Dean Ambrose with a Russian leg sweep able to ground Will Ospreay, and that's going to have to be the strategy that Dean Ambrose takes to get into this matchup against the aerial assassin, because any opportunity that Will Ospreay gets to rebound off of the ropes or generate any sort of momentum will spell the disaster for the Lunatic Fringe here. We see a series of reversals on behalf of both men. Knee to the head now, as Ospreay looking to springboard off of the ropes, looking for the Oz cutter, but it was sidestepped by Dean Ambrose. But if he would have connected with that maneuver this early in the match, and we see Dean Ambrose absolutely drilling Will Ospreay into the canvas with that headlock driver. As I mentioned earlier, Dean Ambrose, a man who throughout the duration of Universe Mode, has always thrived and succeeded on SmackDown for the most part. That is where he has made his statement as part of the Shield, the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Whereas Will Ospreay, in previous years, was a member of NXT. As a member of NXT, of course, that brought Will Ospreay success as the United Kingdom Champion, simultaneously holding that championship with the Cruiserweight Championship, which he held for over 150 days before losing both of those championships on the same night at NXT TakeOver London. A commanding suplex from Dean Ambrose as he rebounds Ospreay off of the ropes, looking for that back elbow. Reversal standing switch here in the corner from both men. Now we see Ospreay turned around into the corner. Dean Ambrose now sending Ospreay directly into that turnbuckle, into the post. Now alley-oop powerbomb as Ambrose muscles Will Ospreay out of the corner. Now just a commanding stomp and a follow through from Ospreay, or excuse me, from Ambrose to Ospreay. A knee strike to the face of Ospreay. The strategy on display from Dean Ambrose, exactly what I was mentioning earlier, just grounding Ospreay in this match, but now Ospreay connecting with that moonsault dropkick. The feet catching Dean Ambrose across the face. Ospreay able to flip out of it, but now catching a lariat for his efforts. Every attempt that Ospreay looks to get at offense here in this contest is quelled by the ruthless nature of Dean Ambrose, who now locks in this Dragon Sleeper. I believe the knees to the head and those knee strikes that were exhibited from Tierras following it up from Will Ospreay. Those knee strikes that were used by Dean Ambrose in this contest were, I believe, what busted open Will Ospreay. We see another moonsault dropkick out of the corner, and now locking in the Buzz Killer, the chicken wing from Will Ospreay, a move that we've seen used by his mortal enemy, that being Marty Scurll, throughout the duration of Universe Mode. Swinging neckbreaker now from Dean Ambrose off of that opportunity. Now Dean Ambrose from the top rope, gonna look perhaps to dive down with an elbow drop onto, oh no, diving front drop kick, but Will Ospreay able to sidestep that attack. Ospreay now getting Dean Ambrose back up to a position where he could take the advantage with this spinning around with that Thunder Driver to Dean Ambrose and a quick kick out before he can capitalize on the opportunity. Irish whip now from Ospreay, sending Dean Ambrose into the corner, and a boot catches Ospreay coming in. Saito suplex to follow it up from Dean Ambrose. Now creates an opening. Potentially a chance to capture the championship gold that has eluded him throughout the year in Universe Mode. Ospreay with the counter now as he was on the ropes. Backhand chop to follow it up on Dean Ambrose, and now it's Ospreay who sends Dean Ambrose to the outside for the first time in this contest. Ospreay now getting the opportunity to potentially go for a huge move to the outside. We see a tope con hilo from the inside of the ring onto Dean Ambrose, as Ospreay now returning within the confines of the ring, perhaps looking to set up Dean Ambrose for a second dive here. Ospreay now stepping out onto the apron, catching two boots across the face of Ambrose. Springboard cutter to the outside. Following the tope con hilo, we see Ospreay connecting with the Oz cutter off of the apron. Now sending Dean Ambrose back within the ring. Ospreay looks to make his way around the apron, potentially lining Dean Ambrose up for a springboard maneuver here. From the apron, looking to springboard in. However, Dean Ambrose in no position to connect with that. Swinging neckbreaker now from Dean Ambrose. Was able to recover off of that exchange. Ospreay with his feet underneath the bottom rope, able to create the rope break opportunity that he needed there to create the separation on that pinfall attempt. Ospreay now looking for a cutter, missing on that spinning kick. Both men getting caught up in the corner now, and it's Ospreay who has Dean Ambrose in position for the cheeky Nando's super kick. Dean Ambrose absolutely crumbling after that attempt, following it up with an 054 inverted 450 splash. And now Will Ospreay going for the pinfall attempt here on Dean Ambrose and a near fall. Seated dropkick to follow it up from Will Ospreay, the Intercontinental Champion. Now rolling through with the schoolboy. The strength of Will Ospreay to muscle up Dean Ambrose for that schoolboy powerbomb. Thought he might have been going for the pinfall attempt there, but now Ospreay rebounding off of the ropes. Standing next to Dean Ambrose, however, Ambrose able to recover. Looking for a suplex here is Ospreay. Not a traditional maneuver that he would go for, but this is WrestleMania and he needs to utilize every single maneuver in his arsenal if he's going to continue to be the Intercontinental Champion. Following tonight, looking for that spinning high kick now, but Dean Ambrose with the counter is going to look for the Fisherman suplex, bridging over, holding onto the leg, and now we see the pinfall attempt, but Will Ospreay, so resilient, so reluctant to lose his championship here tonight with a kick out at the count of 1. And now the grounded headlock from Dean Ambrose. Will Ospreay now back up to his feet. Looking for that drop kick there, but potentially disoriented by the blood in his face. Is caught by that kick from Dean Ambrose. Now a dragon screw leg whip to follow it up from Ospreay. Ospreay getting Dean Ambrose back up to his feet, catching him with a European uppercut, a strike to the face, and now we see Ospreay going to the top rope, catching him with that whisper in the wind. Corkscrew moonsault that catches Ospreay, or catches Ambrose across the head with the heel of the boot. Now Ospreay in position for the red arrow from the top rope. 1, 2, and that corkscrew shooting star press that Ospreay has liked to utilize in his championship matches was not enough to put away Dean Ambrose here at WrestleMania as he looks to lift him up into a crucifix powerbomb position, but Dean Ambrose escaping out of it with that neck breaker. Beautiful counter from Ambrose, who turns over Will Ospreay, who's on the ground now with a single leg camel clutch. And this could be the maneuver that forces Ospreay to part ways with his championship gold. As Ambrose wrenches in on this hold, forcing the knee across the back, but Ospreay countering out of it. Springboard and Siguri that catches Ambrose coming off of that apron, coming off of the ropes with that brutal kick, following it up with a sit-out powerbomb. Now Ospreay calling Dean Ambrose back up to his feet here, potentially looking for the Oz Cutter to put away Dean Ambrose, and he connects with it, an Oz Cutter. Ospreay not finished there yet. Now he's going to give him a kick to the gut. He's going to look to lift him up for the Stormbreaker. Going for the Canadian neck Stormbreaker from the in position to go for the pinfall attempt here on Dean Ambrose. And how on earth did Dean Ambrose get the shoulder up? The desperation from Ambrose to claim singles championship success here in Universe Mode is all that kept him thriving in this contest. Despite the Stormbreaker, despite the Oz Cutter, and everything that Ospreay has thrown his way, Dean Ambrose reluctant to pass up on this opportunity, who now looks for the Dirty Deeds counter from Will Ospreay, who counters out of it with an arm drag. Ambrose, however, back up to his feet in quick fashion. Now looking to get Ospreay up in that power slam position, but it's countered with that inverted DDT to reverse out of it. Ospreay now from the second rope looking for that Phoenix Splash. And at such a low altitude, the impact of that maneuver is going to come crashing down on Dean Ambrose at such a centripetal force. It is going to affect the abdominal region for the remainder of this contest. Dean Ambrose now getting his head driven directly into the turnbuckle pad from Will Ospreay. The counter out of it from Dean Ambrose, standing switch with a forearm to the back. Series of strikes from Ambrose as he snapmares down Will Ospreay into the grounded headlock. Ospreay now very quick to get back up to his feet at every opportunity that Dean Ambrose has obtained to look for some kind of offense late in this contest. However, Ospreay now turning him around, arm wrench, and catches him with that heel kick across the face. kick to the gut, and now Ospreay lifting up Dean Ambrose for that lifting reverse DDT. Ospreay now in the corner, primed, in position, waiting for a groggy Ambrose to get up for the S6 Destroyer. Pinfall attempt here. 1, 2, and no Dean Ambrose. Despite the Essex Destroyer front flipping DDT that apparently has busted open Dean Ambrose in this contest, despite the efforts of Will Ospreay, still incapable of putting away the lunatic here. And now we see Ospreay taunting Dean Ambrose as he was draped across the ropes, looking for the Oz Cutter once again. Oz Cutter from Will Ospreay. But rather than looking for the pinfall attempt, gonna look for a second Oz Cutter. Dean Ambrose, however, able to move out of the way of that attempt. Ospreay rolling to the outside. Quick to recover now with a back suplex on the inside. Despite missing on the second Oz Cutter opportunity, Will Ospreay still created the opening that he needed with a prone Dean Ambrose in position, now taking the head of Will Ospreay right off of his shoulders with that lariat. Ambrose now going to follow Will Ospreay to the outside, where he is the most dangerous and most capable of inflicting damage on Ospreay. However, the two men quick to get back within the confines of the ring, knowing that this is a championship match, and if the two of them get counted out, this will go to a no contest, and Will Ospreay will remain the Intercontinental Champion. But after a maneuver like that Fisherman Suplex, that perfect plex from Dean Ambrose, you got to think that he's looking to seal the deal here with the Dirty Deeds DDT to Will Ospreay. Pinfall attempt, but Will Ospreay's arm so close to the bottom rope. Can he kick out? He kicks out just in the nick of time. I believe Will Ospreay may have had his hand underneath the bottom rope, and now a near fall attempt again as Dean Ambrose, frustrated at Will Ospreay, looking for a follow-up pinfall attempt, and now the grounded strikes to Will Ospreay. I thought that Will Ospreay might have had the rope break on that pinfall attempt, but the referee, believing it not to be so, a commanding powerbomb that will take the wind out of the sails of Will Ospreay. If Dean Ambrose is lucky, now snapmare takedown, spinning roundhouse kick from Will Ospreay, who turns over Dean Ambrose. Lifting up Ambrose, catching a jawbreaker for his efforts is Ospreay, and a lethal lariat once again. Every single time that Dean Ambrose has come running in this contest since that power slam to open up the contest, the counter that Will Ospreay had, each other time it has been for a running lariat, this time connecting with a crossbody and a series of grounded strikes. You can tell the frustration from Dean Ambrose as he exhibits with that forearm strike in the corner. Now a combination of strikes, going back and forth with these strikes to the face and chops across the chest, continuing to lacerate the face of Will Ospreay, opening up that wound. Now connecting again with that Fisherman Suplex here, and another near fall attempt, but Ospreay getting the shoulder up. And you can see the effects of this match on the faces of both of these men. Will Ospreay bleeding all over the face and chest, and Dean Ambrose lacerated across the face as well, following all the damage that these two men have taken. Forearm strike reversal here from Ambrose, looking for the clothesline once again, coming in. Super kick reversal there from Ospreay. Now Dean Ambrose looking for that strike. It's a counter from Ospreay, who catches him with a forearm and a soul kick. Ospreay now looking for that spinning soul kick as he gets Dean Ambrose back up to his feet, but it's Ambrose who is able to capitalize with the vertical suplex. And Ospreay came down very, very deadly on that move. Dean Ambrose now is going to be calling Ospreay back up to his feet here. Ospreay in position, catching the front drop kick across the face and the already busted open skull of Will Ospreay. That is going to spell disastrous for him in this contest, but he creates an opening with that European uppercut. A series of strikes from Ospreay that send Dean Ambrose backwards into the corner. Standing switch now from Ambrose, who sends Will Ospreay across the ring. Counter from Ospreay, who catches him with that soul kick. A chop now. What will Ambrose do? Here with Ospreay creating an opening, sending Dean Ambrose into the corner. Lifting a groggy Ambrose up to the top rope, and now Ambrose catching a boot before Ospreay was able to capitalize a running bulldog to follow it up. Now the pinfall attempt here from Dean Ambrose. Only a 1 count as Will Ospreay. The frustration from Ambrose once again, but Will Ospreay reluctant to pass up on the glory of the championship defense that he could get from defending his championship here at WrestleMania. Another perfect plex from Dean Ambrose, who follows up every single bit of offense with another potential window of opportunity that he has opened for himself. Ospreay now back up to his feet. Last year at WrestleMania, Will Ospreay had to contend with the man that gravity forgot, Neville, the man who won the unique opportunity earlier tonight. And could he be kissing his dreams goodbye? But no, a rope break breaks up that pinfall attempt after the dirty deeds. Butterfly DDT, but Dean Ambrose now pulling Ospreay away from the ropes. Going to look for the pinfall attempt here, and at the very last possible second, Will Ospreay getting his shoulder up and able to continue on in this contest. Catching the boot coming in is Dean Ambrose, and a knee, or an elbow across the knee, and a series of grounded strikes from Dean Ambrose is what's going to keep Will Ospreay grounded for the time being, as Dean Ambrose now constructing another route of attack here, continuing the grounded strikes. That's going to isolate Will Ospreay from a standing position for the time being. Counter on that arm wrench now, the drop toe hold that catches Dean Ambrose across that bottom rope. Ospreay is now the one who has Dean Ambrose up, catching him with that vertical suplex, now following it up with a back suplex. Now we see Ospreay going to the outside, going to look for a springboard opportunity to the inside. Springboard shooting star press off of the apron. Now Ospreay going to the top rope, looking for a follow-up shooting star press from the top rope onto Dean Ambrose. Series of shooting stars. Now Will Ospreay with the butterfly position. He has Dean Ambrose in perfect position for the Stormbreaker. 1, 2, and no, Dean Ambrose again getting the shoulder up. Now it's Will Ospreay who's frustrated and trying to put this match to bed, but Dean Ambrose is the one who refuses to give in. Ospreay now running into the corner, moonsault, dropkick, following it up with the inverted DDT, lifting him up for the inverted 1916, but it's kicked out. Once again, it's kicked out by Dean Ambrose, the man who refuses to stay down in this matchup, but yet another Oz cutter, and we see the fatigue from Dean Ambrose. Ospreay now with the butterfly lock, gonna look to lift him up yet again for the Stormbreaker. Pinfall here. Ospreay creating the separation between the ropes, and 3. Will Ospreay successfully defending his Intercontinental Championship at the grandest stage we have, WrestleMania, against Dean Ambrose in an absolute war that lasted the duration of over 20 minutes. These two men went back and forth, but Ospreay ascertaining his claim over SmackDown and showing why he has been the Intercontinental Champion throughout the duration of Universe Mode ever since his victory over Adam Cole. You can add to the list The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, Jerry Lynn, Ricochet, and now we see added to that list Dean Ambrose as the list of victims of the aerial assassin, the Intercontinental Champion. We move on to another SmackDown Championship match. This will be the SmackDown Women's Championship, and it is a rematch from last year's WrestleMania Championship match.
The following contest
we see making her entrance first and accompanied by an unsuspected guest. Paul Heyman is accompanying Asuka down to the ring. A manager collision that we have never seen before in Universe Mode, but Asuka enlisting the help of Paul Heyman here tonight following her unfortunate loss at the Royal Rumble, in which she entered the Royal Rumble at number 2, surviving a vast majority of the duration of the match, eliminating well over a third of the field, but eventually coming up short and incapable of dethroning Paige, the victor of the Royal Rumble. However, Asuka, no stranger to victory here within Universe Mode, as I stated in the Women's Championship match earlier tonight, a 407-day former champion here in Universe Mode, that of course being on the SmackDown brand. The championship she's looking to reclaim here tonight with the help of Paul Heyman. And next we see making her entrance to the ring the woman who defeated Asuka at last year's WrestleMania to capture that SmackDown Women's Championship. It is Io Shirai. Following her victory over Asuka, she held the SmackDown Women's Championship for 181 days up until Survivor Series, in which she was victorious over Bull Nakano and Ronda Rousey as the representative of SmackDown. However, on that night, Sasha Banks announcing that she would cash in her Women's Money in the Bank briefcase against Io Shirai in the main event in order to tie up the score between Monday Night Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, which created the turmoil surrounding the number 30 Royal Rumble entry. A match that would later affect Asuka's chances of coming to WrestleMania, however, still finding herself in this championship match. I understand the capacity of the story over the past year between these two extends beyond the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Introducing the challenger from Osaka, Japan, Asuka.
Asuka, the former 407-day SmackDown Women's Champion, looks to recapture her championship that she lost a year ago. To tie everything together, the SmackDown Women's Champion that Asuka defeated in the first place to capture that gold was Paige in her second championship reign. Asuka held on to that championship for 407 days before Io Shirai captured the championship from Asuka last year at WrestleMania. Io Shirai would go on to hold that SmackDown Women's Championship throughout the duration of this year up until Survivor Series, where Sasha Banks cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, defeating Io Shirai before Io Shirai was able to recapture the SmackDown Women's Championship 21 days later at TLC. And now we see quickly a hip toss and a knee strike as the animosity between these two women very prevalent earlier on in this contest. Now Io Shirai looking for the earlier on advantage with that Hurricane Rana into the ropes, catching her with the 619, showing her inspiration from the great Rey Mysterio, following it up with that diving double foot stomp off of the top rope. But Asuka now can answer back with a series of grounded kicks to the chest of Io Shirai, catching her with that roundhouse kick to follow it up. And Io Shirai, one of only two women to hold the SmackDown Women's Championship on two occasions, the other of which being Paige, the woman who we saw unsuccessful earlier on tonight against Ember Moon. That springboard dropkick opportunity from Io Shirai and the counter from Asuka, as we see Paul Heyman satisfied with the knee drop and the efforts of Asuka in this contest. Now we see Io Shirai very desperately getting the shoulder up, almost completely incapacitated, but that knee strike from Asuka. Now we see Asuka twisting around Io Shirai, going to look to wrench on the arm of Io Shirai here. And you got to think the animosity between Asuka and Io Shirai could be reaching the point of Asuka and Ember Moon's rivalry, which has been long-standing here in Universe Mode. Now we see a head scissors takedown from Io Shirai that creates some distance off of the reversal for that roundhouse kick that Asuka was looking for. Io Shirai now turning Asuka around, going to look to send her face first into the turnbuckle. Now we see the tarantula lock. Could only hold this maneuver in for a couple seconds before the referee is going to have to break the hold, but now we see Io Shirai going up to the second rope, going to look for that sunset flip perhaps, but catching absolutely nothing as Asuka wisened up to that opportunity that Io Shirai was looking for. A series of turnbuckle smashes now from Asuka, but Io Shirai able to reverse her fortune. Springboard dropkick there from Io Shirai, but it is countered once again from Asuka. Spinning back fist now. Snapmare takedown, however, from Io Shirai, who looks to follow it up with the velocity coming in for that big boot across the face of Asuka. Io Shirai now whipping Asuka off of the ropes. Gonna look to go for a handstand. Double backflip into a handspring. Head scissors to Asuka, following it up with springing up to her feet. Handspring into the corner now to follow it up on Asuka, and the tension between these two very prevalent as the absolute rate of this contest so far. Seated dropkick to follow it up from Io Shirai. The rate and aggression that these two women showing to each other. As Io Shirai with that knee strike on the ground, fired up and showing the crowd exactly what she is capable of doing, even when she is in the ring with Asuka. Not only did these two have their championship matches, now we see a series of strikes to the chest that mirror the strikes that Asuka was delivering to Io Shirai earlier on in this contest when she had her in a kneeling position. Io Shirai now looking to get a running start to come into the corner, but Asuka catching her with that boot coming in, following it up with that leg lariat, and now going for the pinfall attempt here as Paul Heyman looking on intently. And another near fall from Asuka in this contest. Asuka not really amassing a lot of offense so far against Io Shirai, but everything that she has done has been damaging by the signs of the near falls and the pinfall attempts that we have seen. Now Io Shirai being sent to the outside, but Asuka delivering her back to the inside. And you got to think the frustrations from Asuka don't just stem from that WrestleMania match that they had last year, but they also continued on into the Great American Bash to have a steel cage match with one another, in which Io Shirai was again successful. So Asuka unsuccessful against Io Shirai on 2 attempts to capture the SmackDown Women's Championship that she had held for over a year. Now snapping the arm once again of Io Shirai. Does Asuka. Stomp to the back that turns over. Io Shirai in position for Asuka to wrench in. Io Shirai having victories over Kairi Sane and Rhea Ripley over the course of this year. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, her matches with Asuka dating back to last year's WrestleMania have proven, and Sasha Banks as well, have proven that Io Shirai could command the SmackDown Women's Championship just as well as Asuka did. But if she can get past her here tonight and prove herself that despite last year's victory over Asuka, she has without a doubt ensured that she can continue on as the representation of the women's division. Now with Io Shirai, got her up in the torture rack, drops her down across the knees. Io Shirai following it up with a snap German suplex into the turnbuckle, and Paul Heyman immediately after the impact of that move checking the turnbuckle and distracting the referee for the time being, as Asuka now permitted the opportunity to recover, which creates the opportunity that she needs here, turning Io Shirai around, knees to the spine, and following it up with that inverted DDT. The window of opportunity that Paul Heyman created there, seeing that Asuka was rattled off of that exchange, and now Asuka with the rolling savate turning it around into that running hip attack at very close range. Knee strike now from Asuka was ascertained the advantage here over Io Shirai. Waiting for Io Shirai to get back up to her feet, potentially looking to lock in the Asuka lock there, but now Io Shirai with the counter, looking for the half Nelson suplex to Asuka, now going high risk. Io Shirai on the top rope and in position perhaps for the moonsault. Diving down onto Asuka with that diving double foot stomp across the chest of Asuka. Now sending Io Shirai sending Asuka off of the ropes. The counter from Asuka. And there was actually another occasion in which Io Shirai had met Asuka throughout this year in Universe Mode, that being previously 2 months previously at No Way Out. We saw a women's elimination chamber match in which Io Shirai defended the SmackDown Women's Championship successfully against Kairi Sane, Deonna Purrazzo, Mia Yim, Natalya, and Asuka herself. You see on that exchange, after Asuka fired up with a series of strikes, Io Shirai answering back with a clothesline of her own. Now Io Shirai muscling up Asuka, holding her in position and gonna drill her down with a brain buster. Pinfall attempt here from Io Shirai. 1-2 and a kick out. Very near fall from Io Shirai on that brainbuster attempt. Io Shirai now getting Asuka up and bringing Io Shirai into the corner. Now driving the knee directly into the face of Io Shirai and directly in front of Paul Heyman, giving him a perfect view of the brutality that he has come so familiar with. We've seen him accompany Brock Lesnar here in Universe Mode ever since the Royal Rumble. However, Brock Lesnar losing in his Raw World Heavyweight Championship match. Now Paul Heyman being employed by the services of Asuka, who now removes the turnbuckle pad in the corner. We see referee might want to look into replacing the turnbuckle over in the corner, as Fireman's Carry attempt from Io Shirai is countered, or from Asuka is countered by Io Shirai. Now Asuka is the one who's sent into the exposed turnbuckle pad that she intentionally introduced into this contest. Io Shirai following it up with a codebreaker. Double knees to the face. 1, 2, and Asuka very close to the ropes, but able to get her shoulder up despite the impact of the exposed turnbuckle. Io Shirai now following that up with a seated front dropkick to the face of Asuka. Pinfall attempt there, but the referee distracted by the exposed turnbuckle that he felt the need to repair. However, costing Io Shirai a potential pinfall attempt there. Forearm smash to the face. Double elbows to the back to the face of Io Shirai. So the turnbuckle eventually paying off for Asuka in the end, despite it costing her initially, allowing her to recover from that pinfall attempt and now position Io Shirai on the top rope. Asuka now going to be the one to follow her up to the top rope. Asuka now hoisting up Io Shirai for the superplex that brings Io Shirai 3/4 of the way across the ring. Rolling savate kick countered by Io Shirai, who counters with the head scissors. That sends Asuka to the outside. Io Shirai, however, not going to allow Asuka to create the distance that she is looking for. Springboarding with a crossbody to the outside, but Asuka sidestepping that opportunity. Now looking for the power slam attempt. Io Shirai countering out with a kick to the leg. Asuka the one to send Io Shirai back within the confines of the ring, however, and now Io Shirai quick to get back up to her feet within the ring. Asuka now sent back to the outside off that forearm smash. And we see Io Shirai picking up the velocity Lope Suicida forearm smash on the outside to Asuka. Now gonna follow it up with the Spanish Fly. And Io Shirai with Asuka on the outside, gonna send her back inside, potentially gonna look for the moonsault opportunity here. And the whole time, Paul Heyman watching on. German suplex, but Io Shirai flipping out of it. Thought she created the opportunity that she needed with the distraction from Paul Heyman. But now that chick kick followed up by the moonsault from Io Shirai. Did you see the altitude that she got on that moonsault attempt? And what a near fall. No, another pinfall attempt now from Io Shirai. 1, 2, and no, again, Asuka kicking out. Just barely at the count of 2. How on earth was Asuka able to kick out? The altitude and the impact of that moonsault coming crashing down across the chest. And now Io Shirai catching Asuka, rebounding off of the ropes with that single leg drop kick. Io Shirai countered on that exchange with an arm drag from Asuka. Once again, after Io Shirai rolls out of that, Asuka catching her, coming in with a lariat. Now a series of low kicks from Asuka, rebounding Io Shirai off of the ropes, and then the kitchen sink knee strike to the to the gut of Io Shirai. Rolling Savate to follow it up, and now we see the running hip attack from Asuka. It takes a second, takes a second to take a breath in this matchup. After everything that Io Shirai has dished out, Asuka needing a second to recover before the pinfall attempt. Only a 1 count off that hip attack. Now we see Asuka primed in position for Io Shirai, waiting for her to get back up to her feet here. He's got to look to lock in the Asuka lock here. She has the Asuka lock locked in. And will this be the end of Io Shirai's SmackDown Women's Championship reign? Can we see the end of Io Shirai here? No, muscling off Asuka and catching her with that back elbow that creates the separation, springing off the ropes, looking for that head scissors, but is countered by Asuka. Now Io Shirai comes in with that head scissors, gonna look for the 619, which we saw at the opening of this contest. Now Io Shirai following it up with a diving double stomp to create this series of moves that she looked for to open up the contest. And Asuka again getting the shoulder up. Knee lift from Asuka, and after the disappointment from Paige earlier tonight, losing her Royal Rumble victory in her Women's Championship opportunity, you gotta think that Asuka, after her performance within the Royal Rumble and her pedigree within Universe Mode, she wants to be very successful. And victory here tonight will get her that championship that she feels she deserves. Hip toss, following it up with a knee strike again from Io Shirai. And we see Shirai going to the outside, going to spring in, springboard frog splash to Asuka. Pinfall attempt here. Io looking for the pin, but getting a 2 count once again. Paul Heyman, we see on the outside. Very intimidated at the prospect of his losing this matchup. Io Shirai now turning Asuka around, springing off the ropes, kick, the rolling savate that sends Asuka directly to the outside, directly next to Paul Heyman. Io Shirai creating the distance she needs, catching Asuka, coming in with that roundhouse kick as soon as Asuka got back into the ring. And you might think Asuka got back into the ring far too quickly. Now following it up, Io Shirai lands that moonsault, but the referee distracted by Paul Heyman now, who is up on the apron. Io Shirai going to walk over to Paul Heyman and knock Heyman off of the apron. Now we see Io Shirai going to look for another opportunity here. Diving from the top onto the outside. Onto Paul Heyman, who she knocked off of the apron, but Paul Heyman now on the outside with Io Shirai catching a drop kick to the back of his head. Asuka back to her feet on the inside. Io Shirai catching her with a forearm smash. Now with the pump handle, backbreaker from Io Shirai. Io now getting Asuka back up to her feet despite the distraction from Paul Heyman. Io Shirai has still maintained the advantage over Asuka in this match. Springing off the ropes, looking for that springboard. Handspring head scissors. Asuka counters out of it with a leg lariat. Now Asuka with Io Shirai Dazed on the apron, looking to get back up to her feet. Catching her with that springboard dropkick to the inside is Io Shirai, who gets Asuka back up to her feet now. Sending Asuka with the Irish whip into the corner. Io Shirai looking to get a running start, but she's so fatigued at this point of the contest. Dropkick from Asuka, which is countered by Io Shirai, who looks for a Hurricane Rana off that redirection on the whip to the outside. Another Irish whip, handspring back elbow from Io Shirai. Now Shirai with a kick to the gut. Butterfly lock, gonna lift up and maintain this hold on Asuka. Maintaining the butterfly suplex that brings her down. The damage being done to the back of Asuka. Io Shirai now with Asuka in position, perhaps gonna look for the moonsault here. Turning around now. Diving for the attack, but Asuka countering out of the way of that forearm smash. Io Shirai now being sent into the corner by Asuka. And Asuka positioning Shirai. At this point of this matchup, these two competitors have been competing for over 25 minutes, and it just shows how important the SmackDown Women's Championship could be to both of these women following their banger of a match that they had last year. They had an absolute barn burner. Not to mention the steel cage match that they had in the Elimination Chamber over the course of the year. These two women have put on absolute showcases for the audience. Now Asuka locking in an ankle lock on Io Shirai. Could this be the submission victory that Asuka was looking for? Perhaps not with the Asuka lock, but perhaps if she can lock in the ankle lock and secure the victory. But no, Io Shirai turning around. I believe Io Shirai being far too close to the ropes to allow that submission victory. Shirai now, however, looking for the belly-to-belly suplex. It's countered by Asuka with a series of strikes to the face. Asuka missing that grapple attempt. Shirai with a series of forearm smashes, and now sending Asuka pillar to post from across the ring. Shirai now lifting Asuka up, positioning her on the top rope, but can she do what it takes to get Asuka from the top all the way down onto the canvas and secure a pinfall attempt? After this opportunity, butterfly suplex, the strength of Io Shirai to send Asuka across the ring with that avalanche butterfly suplex. Io Shirai following it up with the moonsault. Pinfall attempt here, but no, once again Paul Heyman distracting the referee before Io Shirai can secure the pinfall. At this point, Io Shirai getting frustrated with the antics of Paul Heyman and frustrated with the attention span of the referee. Luthez press now from Io Shirai, who catches Asuka coming off of the ropes, smacking her head down into the canvas a series of times. Now we see Io Shirai distracted by Paul Heyman once again on the outside. Now going to turn around to Asuka, direct her focus on her opponent. Diving double drop kick. But the attempt not to be. Paul Heyman on the outside right by Io Shirai. Shirai entering back inside the ring as Asuka going to the outside. Catches Io Shirai coming in on that running opportunity with the back elbow. Now it's missed by Io Shirai. A series of strikes from Asuka. Back elbow from Io Shirai. Catches her with that chop to follow it up. Springboard. Missing her. Catches her with that head scissors. Coming in. Can you believe the tenacity of Io Shirai to pull off a maneuver like that at this stage of the matchup, to catch her with that springboard head scissors, handspring head scissors, and now gonna follow it up with a brain buster, completely disorienting, and then drilling the head of Asuka into the canvas. This could be exactly what Io Shirai was looking for. Frog splash from the top. Pinfall attempt here. Once again, Paul Heyman getting involved. And what will it take for this manager, or for this referee, to eject Paul Heyman from ringside? Rolling Savate kick now from Asuka, who follows it up with a running hip attack. Pinfall attempt here. Folding up Io Shirai for the pinfall, and a near fall, but Shirai gets the shoulder up. Asuka now going to the top rope and going to continue this train of momentum that she has established for herself here off of the opportunity that Paul Heyman has opened for her. Oh, and the rolling savant from the top. The spinning heel kick from the top rope. And the speed that Asuka came in across the face of Io Shirai sent Shirai to the outside. And despite Shirai entering back within the ring, you got to think that that move had a tremendous effect on Io Shirai. Pump handle backbreaker, however, from Shirai, not showing the effects of that rolling kick despite the viciousness that it appeared to be. Now Asuka turning Io Shirai around, turning her into the Asuka lock, and this could be it. This could be the final nail in the coffin of Io Shirai's SmackDown Women's Championship run. But no, creating the separation. Once again countering with that back elbow. Codebreaker to follow it up. Now we see Io Shirai going to the top rope once again. Dropping down, however, perhaps going to have something else in mind rather than the moonsault. Springboarding off the second rope and catching Asuka with that leg drop. Oh, and only a 1 count. Only a 1 count from Asuka. Despite this matchup entering the 30-minute mark soon. Swinging neckbreaker, following it up with that back roll into the splash from Io Shirai, who goes to the top rope now. I see Io Shirai calling Asuka back up to her feet. What could she be looking for here? Diving down with that drop kick, but again Asuka steps out of the way. Shirai, however, able to kick out of that pinfall attempt, still fighting on in this contest. Asuka now with the wrist control, grounded stomps to the face of Io Shirai. Turning Shirai over, and once again looking to lock in the ankle lock here. Paul Heyman very proud of his clientele here, clapping on the outside as Io Shirai could be put away with this submission attempt. Io Shirai so desperately crawling towards the ropes. Can she make it? Can she escape out of the submission attempt? It is so close, but Asuka so desperate for that championship. Now a series of kicks that separates the two women. Any big move at this point in the matchup could be the final opportunity that they need to create the victory here. Io Shirai now on the outside catches the hot shot from Asuka that sends her off of the apron. Going to the outside now is Asuka. Asuka with a forearm smash, series of strikes, spinning back fists, completely devastating strikes to Io Shirai, and now Asuka with Io Shirai depositing her face first on the apron. Asuka now gonna have to be mindful of the count here. Once again bashing Io Shirai into the apron. A 5 count here from the referee. 6 count, and now we see Asuka and Io Shirai both returning within the ring. Io Shirai, however, breaking the arm over the shoulder of Shirai. Kick reversal from Asuka, looking for that leg lariat again in this contest, the calf kick, but now it's reversed by Io Shirai, who sends her across the ring with that German suplex. Shirai going to the top rope now, gonna follow it up with the moonsault that she is known for. 1, 2, and 3. Securing the pinfall attempt, but at the very last second, Paul Heyman looking to pull the referee out of the ring. It was not to be. Io Shirai retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship at WrestleMania, despite the best efforts of Asuka, despite Asuka's reign of dominance throughout the Royal Rumble, despite enlisting the help of Paul Heyman. Io Shirai continuing on as the SmackDown Women's Champion and retaining her championship at WrestleMania over one of her biggest rivals, being Asuka. And you gotta think this is a sweet victory for Io Shirai. This would be a sweet victory for anybody to beat the same person 4 times within the same calendar year, but also 2 years back to back at WrestleMania. And Io Shirai has established herself as the champion, and she is now continuing on as the SmackDown Women's Champion, reigning over the division and victorious at WrestleMania.